This is Hannibal back here. I was having some audio issues, but I think I'm good now with a daily wrestling news update. Becky Lynch won the vacant WWE Women's Championship for the Raw brand last night, winning a battle royal. This is interest. Of course, Rhea Ripley was injured in a backstage segment, had a shoulder injury. She's going to be out, from what I understand, at least 3 months. It's interesting because Becky Lynch's contract expires in a couple months or less, so they must be pretty confident that she's going to be staying with the company to put the title on her, despite her contract running out. Out of Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and Becky Lynch, I would say Becky Lynch would be the best person for AEW to go after of those three whose contracts are expiring. But as I said, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. Of course, Seth Rollins is out with an injury that he got in a match with Jinder Mahal right now. He recently had surgery. I don't know if that had to do with Mahal's firing or not, but you never want to injure somebody who's the quote unquote world champion, one of the three world champions. McIntyre, they're still pushing heavily for this Punk thing. So it doesn't seem like he's going to go anywhere either, although technically until they sign, they could still be made an offer that they can't refuse. Finn Balor recently said his contract is up soon, but he's not going anywhere. Sean thinks that they should bring Becky to AEW to bring women's wrestling up to the standard. Also, Goldberg did say yesterday he would never go to AEW because it's too cheesy. I heard Dave Meltzer say that he did participate in WCW, which had its cheesy moments, and WWE they did kind of do silly stuff with him when they first brought him in during his first run. However, he probably needed money more then than now, where he's made millions and millions and millions and millions and millions. I mean, his WWE run, his first WWE run was 20 years ago, and WCW was like 25, 30 years ago. Also, AEW, they have like the Orange Cassidy stuff, and they have a ridiculous amount of very small acrobatic wrestlers. They do have some great wrestlers too, though, and some good matches, but they do have a lot of the pizza guy wrestling with the pizza flipping around. Um, But Meltzer also said that Tony Khan, and we did see this in the news last year, he did say that he was friends with Goldberg and talking to him. I don't know if he was that close friends with Goldberg saying publicly that the product is cheesy, but it appears they didn't make him a good enough offer for him not to go. So there you go. Apparently, this Von Wagner that was released last week had been on the main roster for like a year and hardly been used, if at all. So that's why he's released. Of course, he was Wayne Bloom, one of the Beverly Brothers' son. Wayne Bloom was another guy that was in WCW for a while, collecting a paycheck, which it was good for that. Cena's birthday is today. Happy birthday to John Cena. Dominic Mysterio. Apparently, the sling he's wearing is legitimate. He is injured. So interesting that both Mysterio and Rhea Ripley are injured. Apparently, AEW this week in Jacksonville, according to what I heard on Wrestling Observer Radio, only has about 1,400 tickets sold for Wednesday's show, featuring an IWGP title match between Moxley and Powerhouse Hobbs. They are also going back to Jacksonville Saturday, so they're in their home city with not a very good advance for Wednesday. I don't know what the Saturday advance is. It's another 3-hour Saturday special for AEW. And apparently NFL Films is going to be following Tony Khan all day Saturday because he is doing recruiting for the Jacksonville Jaguars with non-drafted free agents during the afternoon. Then he's doing the collision tapings Saturday night. So you'd think they'd really want to try and pack the plays of NFL Films is going to be following them. But supposedly the only thing that's been announced for this week is the Moxley match. Nothing's been announced for Saturday yet. They didn't say anything about it in the media scrum after their pay-per-view on the weekend. Apparently, the Olympic trials for the U.S. did a 0.04 rating, which is better than Impact usually does. Impact usually gets a 0.01 or less, but not as good as the NCAA finals did. Another interesting thing is on the Business of the Business Wrestling podcast with Brandon Thurston and John Paz, it did come out that TNA only averaged 200 fans per show last year, which is not good. Ivan, more releases in WWE coming soon? I would say so. Yeah, they have fat that they can cut, and TKO seems to be very business minded. By the way, at 8 p.m. tonight, I'm interviewing Darcy Weir, a UFO documentarian who specializes in documentaries about underwater UFOs and UFOs' relationships with volcanoes. So that's Tuesday at 8. By the way, Brad Brad Baluchian, hard last name to pronounce, author of the Six Pack on the Road to WrestleMania. He sent me, I interviewed him. I put the link in the description. He did a very interesting book, and he's now sent me a copy, which I am going to read and review. It's available on Amazon. But I'm very looking forward to the part where he talks about Jimmy Snuka apparently going nuts on a flight back from the Middle East, which was about a year. And this incident happened like a year after um, the alleged killing that he was found civilly guilty of Nancy Argentina. So I'm looking forward to that. But the whole book is basically about the Iron Sheik Bob Backlund MSG show that led to the birth of Hulkamania and the behind the scenes stuff. But the early WWE years when Vince McMahon first took over, and it seems like the Wild West. I have read a couple online thing excerpts from the book, but I don't like reading online because I'm always reading online. I'd rather read from an actual book. So I will do a review of that, and I'll hopefully have Brad back on. He's very knowledgeable about wrestling. Yeah, Sherry Martel, Dark Side of the Ring tonight. I'm going to be watching that one. I would like to interview Violent J of ICP. 100% because there's a couple clips on here from Dan Severn's Unleashed TV podcast of Violent J talking about, and by the way, you can check out the full interview on his channel, of Violent J talking about the headbangers roughing them up, Insane Clown Posse up in WWE, and a fight, speaking of Goldberg, that he witnessed between Goldberg and Evan Courageous in WCW. I think being such a big wrestling fan, he would do one with me. I just have to find out how to contact him. Sean met Bob Backlund in 1992 with Virgil. I met Bob Backlund um, at the Iowa, Waterloo, Iowa Hall of Fame. His hotel room was like right beside mine the year that he got his induction, which by the way, if you search up Bob Backlund, Waterloo, Iowa, George Tragos, Luthez Hall of Fame, his induction is on my channel. They let me cover it that year. So because his hotel room was right beside me, I ran into him a lot that weekend. Very he's very much like when you're around him, I like him. He's a very, very nice guy, but you can't help but think about that Bob Backlund, Mr. Bob Backlund character because he's exactly like that character. He always has like an aura about him that if you piss him off, he's gonna just start like he's nice, but you get the aura if you say the wrong thing, he's just gonna like snap. But I like him. I did a good interview with him after I watched him work out. He let me watch him work out in the Dan Gable Museum wrestling room there, and then I also did a video interview with him. I think last year. However, he seems to be suffering now from dementia, and sadly, he seems to have s- like his brain function seems to have gone downhill since that interview. I don't think you're going to ever see another interview with Bob Backlund due to that. But a really nice guy. I think he's legitimately nice. So into the role, he put me in the chicken wing. Sean says he put him in the chicken wing. There you go. So again, I'll give it one more plug because I like Brad. He's a nice guy. Brad Baluchian, the Six Pack to WrestleMania, on the road to WrestleMania on Amazon. And at 8 p.m., I will be doing that interview with Darcy Weir, the UFO guy. And if there's any more news, I'll definitely post it. Oh, by the way, there is an interview I'm going to post today with a former WWE creative woman that Jack Kilby and Cheap Heat did. That was pretty interesting. She claims to basically dealt with some sexual harassment in the WWE office, but it was a different time and she never complained about it. But she talks a lot about the behind the scenes workings of WWE and working directly with Vince McMahon. So please give this video a thumbs up.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video, then click the subscribe and get notifications buttons so you don't miss any of my latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates.